I always tell people like fashion, food, and music are the three things that you can teach everybody the same thing. We'll all do it differently. We'll all dress differently. We'll all play differently. We'll all cook differently, even if we have the same ingredient. And it's just our natural genetic code. My name's David. I was born in Carroll Stream, and I lived in Carroll Stream from like a kid to like 9. And I went to school in Maywood, and then my dad's church was in 63rd and Kembar. I went to music school downtown, and then I've been living in Olympia Fields. Well, I was living in Olympia Fields from like 10 to high school before I moved to LA. So I think I got to experience like all sides of the world, or just Chicago in different types of forms. I got to see how white people moved. I got to see how black people moved. I got to grow up with like white friends. I went to school with all black kids at a Christian school. I went to church like in the city, and then I went to music school downtown. So I think my approach to how I feel music, I feel like more of a journalistic perspective now, because I got to observe different perspectives all across the board. And I think it kind of shows because I love all types of music, because my dad wanted to make sure we loved all types of music. We did jazz, we did gospel, and like hip hop and rock. My first concert was like Bon Jovi at Soldier Field with my friends and my dad. So I think I've just always just loved just the general concept of music. So I think how my landscape, where I was born, where I lived, it taught me how to, kick it with kids in the hood, but also play with white kids. And like, I'm grateful for that perspective. I don't feel like a lot of people can grow up like that. So yeah. I think the simplest way to describe music to somebody is I think music is math. Music is math and emotion, or music is just like, I think, I don't know, like, I was just having a conversation with my friend yesterday. I was trying to show him this bass line to this Ari Lennox song he liked, and I just showed him like how to simply play it, and he was blown away that he could play the bass pattern. But I was like, it's all just numbers and like, it's all patterns and formulas. That's all music is. That's why like we're able to learn music so young as kids. It's not an intelligent thing. It's just about really reading the directions and like really just kind of like applying those numbers today. Like I was with like my little cousin Cyan, and she's like 5, and she was playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and she was reading numbers. So she would place her fingers, and one would be like 1, 2, 3, the other one would be right here. But that's how she was like recognizing the song. So it's like, it's all math. That's all it is. So for me, I think at the simple core, it's like music is math, and it's like something we can't explain. And I think for me, that's how I understand, like, it's a God particle in my opinion. It's like, there's a logical way to explain music, and then there's this illogical way where it's just like, it's a mixture of like God through you, your personality, how you naturally walk, talk, breathe, how your personality is like your code through music, how you express yourself. It's like how you dress, like the way you create music is kind of like the same way. Like I always tell people, like fashion, food, and music are the three things that you can teach everybody the same thing. We'll all do it differently. We'll all dress differently. We'll all play differently. We'll all cook differently, even if we have the same ingredient. And it's just our natural genetic code. I feel like it's just how I really explain it. But at the simplest form, I think for me, like doing music my whole life, I just really see it as math. I think it's like an overseer. Like a true producer is an overseer. Like some producers don't even make the beat. Some people don't even, like Diddy's a producer, but we don't want to go watch Diddy make a beat on Logic. And that's not to insult him, but this man's ear is insane, you know what I'm saying? But he's an overseer. He employs people. It's like I think like Steve Jobs said, it's like you guys play in the orchestra, I play the band. That's the difference between the conductor and the band member. And I think for me, that's my role as a producer, I try to make sure that I'm making the best decisions for the song. And I can't do everything. You know, sometimes you might need somebody to play guitar. You might need somebody to go and program drums. You might need, like, we're capable of doing it, but it's just like, I think the beauty of a producer is recognizing how other people can contribute to the bigger picture of what the song is. It's not about the artist. It's not about my ego. It's about what is the best job for the song. And that's something, like, you know, as I get older, like, I'm still trying to, like, grow in, because I feel like for a true producer game is like an old man's game. I think it's a wisdom game. I think it's about, like, what's the best decisions you can make for this song. That's just in any form of production, in my opinion. I think the lows is just the greatest stories. You have to look at everything as an advantage and a disadvantage. And I think with every situation in your life, you have, like, two choices to either find a pro in it or the con in it. And if you choose to dwell on the con, that's on you. But if you choose to just thug it out and like focus on your why, like, the bad stuff never really lasts. And for me, I think I've been able to, like, learn how to find peace within chaos, because my industry isn't like a consistent paycheck. It's like sometimes you'll have moments where the money's rolling in and it's dope and you're comfy, and then there's sometimes it's just like, I don't know where my next check is going to come from. But you have to be kind of like at peace with yourself in the lows. You kind of have to make sure, like, what are you doing with your time to be productive, so you don't realize what's going on, or like, are you, like, what's your time management skills, like, what are you doing while you awake? And I think for me, like, life is always, as a creative, is always presenting you with either stories to write or a moment to learn. So even in the low moments, like, I think a lot of people struggle with, like, keeping inspiration when they feel guilty about, like, not making beats every day and stuff. And I just feel like music is so spiritual, like, no matter what religion you believe. So it's like sometimes you have to just be sensitive to, like, when to create and create with purpose, and while you're waiting for that next inspiration, or you're trying to get through that rut, it's like, what are you watching to stay motivated? What are you doing to stay like, I go to thinking spots all the time, or I go around friends and I have conversations to get inspired. Like, Mars and Pooh came from a low moment. I was at my house, but my roommate was making beats every day, and I felt like, what am I doing with myself? What am I doing with my life? I don't know what I'm doing. And I went to my friend Jordan's house, and he was just playing MLB. And then I got the idea to do Mars and Pooh from just joking with him while he's playing a video game. So it's just like, you never know how the day is gonna go. You're ignorant if you even, but it's like silly of us to even think how we don't even know how this day is gonna finish out today. So it's just like, you can never count out how life can surprise you with creativity or inspiration. You just have to, like, always keep hope alive and remember your why, and, like, why you do this. And I think if you stick to that, like, we can't escape the bad days or the low moments, but you realize they're here to help you instead of hurt you. So I think that's how I feel about it. It's super important. I think us with music, I think we create the sound. Like, when you're a great artist, you create the soundtrack to somebody's life. So it's your soundtrack. It's like, what are you going through? What are you doing in your everyday life? And it's just like, I think something that I think our next generation needs to realize is, like, to really get creative, think outside of music. Think about, who are you outside of the song? There's so many people that are just creative outside of just music. So I think it's about every day, even if, like, you don't feel like touching the computer, the inspiration is, like, staying creative somehow, doing something. Like, even cooking is creative. You know what I'm saying? Just like finding therapeutic means. I remember one time I was with some friends, like, in LA, and I had, like, this, like, cheer up day for my friend, and I went to my friend Shiloh's house, and what she did was put on jazz music and made us use these adult coloring books. And I'm sitting here like, why are we about to do this? And it was crazy, because it was like, that did something for me though. It was like, it makes you realize that these things we're complaining about, like, I'm not inspired, or the writer's block, it's all in your mind. It's like, nobody said you had to make a beat today. Nobody said you had to write a song today. It's like, to let the song come to you, but it's just about, like, finding new ways to stay creative, stay inspired. Like, for me, like, I dropped out of school after a semester of college. So for me, I knew all my friends were going to be successful, and they are. All my friends are literally that I grew up with that were in this basement are touring the world with all major artists, and I was watching the concert DVDs with them talking about it. And I knew that, so I told myself if I failed, that's only on me. So I always made sure I was going to be a student no matter if I was in a classroom or not. So I'm always watching movies, I'm always watching documentaries, I'm always trying to learn, or I'm always even on Wikipedia trying to, like, if I have a question about something, just trying to always grow, you know, because it's like I've been doing music since I was 2. So like sometimes like I personally don't feel like making a beat sometimes. It's like I don't sometimes feel like playing piano. Like I love music, but it's just like it's a part of me. It's how it's another way of how I talk, you know. So like sometimes it's just like what's more to me than just music. And sometimes finding out other parts of me, it helps bring new perspectives to when I create, because it's like new personality developments, and it's been great to go into different worlds and just learn. Also, it's like don't ever pigeonhole yourself into just like studying American music. The greatest thing I think our generation has right now is YouTube, because something I've been doing is like I'll go on Wikipedia now and I will Google a different country from Africa and just YouTube search their music, decades of music, the 70s, the 80s, even when they try to do American music. And it will open your mind up to so many melodies that America sometimes won't even let you think is existing. And I think once you realize, like, you'll never stop hearing a song you never heard that will blow your mind away. Every day you can be blown away by something. Like there's so much music being created today that sometimes you don't even know when the great stuff is coming out, because it's like this treasure chest era of so many people being able to create their ideas and stuff. And sometimes like there might be something great that came out this week that I won't discover until 2 years from now, and it was not our fault. It was just we were so oversaturated with so much content that we didn't even know. So it's just always realizing there's an adventure to be had. There's always inspiration to be looking for it, but you have to look for it. You have to have the perseverance to want to keep finding it and stay motivated. It's all on you. It's all about your perspective. You change your perspective. Like, I'm not going to say that like there won't be days you're going to be sad, but it's just about like learning how to sit through the sadness and realize it's temporary. Realize like why are you sad, and then getting through that and channeling that to art, channeling that to creativity and living life. That's the greatest thing you can really do. And I just think you have to master your personality. I think at the end of the day, if people don't like you, sometimes we don't like what we don't understand. So sometimes we're persecuted. Sometimes it'd be the boy who cried wolf. You have to be so you got to be so sure in yourself. You got to be strong and wrong. Even when you start off, like my dad just sent me some songs I did in high school, and it was so funny because it was so trash, but it was like the ambition of it helped me get to where I am today. When I was making that, I probably thought, oh, I'm killing it right now. This is amazing. But it was garbage, you know? And it's like, I'm not ashamed of it. Like, that's my journey. But at least I stuck with it. It's like, I think a lot of people win just by being consistent and diligent. And I think that's all you have to do. Like, if people's opinion sways you, you're not meant for it. You gotta be like unwavered and believe in yourself. If you know you're meant to do it, you have to do that. But it's like faith without works is dead. You have to study the greats. You have to study what makes great songs great. You have to understand what triggers you. What do you like? How do you want to say? What makes you different? Expressing your personality. What does that feel like? What does it look like to you? What does it sound like to you? Back to the basic of it. Believe in yourself. Be a student, never stop learning, never stop growing, and know yourself and know what's right and what's wrong, and have people around you that know music better than you. If you're around people that know music, if you're the best person around you that does music, that's a problem. You gotta have people around you that's really getting on you about it. Like when I was playing drums, I was never the best drummer around, but I was around these good drummers that kept making me, I had no choice but to get better. So it's just about like company you keep, and yeah, just staying encouraged every day.
All right, so this is the speed round of good questions. You gotta do them as fast as you can.
Okay.
All right, the first one, good food.
Portillo's.
Good color.
Blue.
Good song on your playlist right now.
Next question.
It's totally fine. Good season.
Spring.
A good day.
Saturday.
Good clothing brand.
Bodega.
Good restaurant.
Hamada.
Good movie you've seen lately.
Toy Story 4.
Good artist you're inspired by and has worked with.
Kanye.
Good sports.
Basketball.
The 80s or 90s.
Ooh. I love Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins.
Me too. Well, David, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for asking.
We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
No problem. Yo, you know I got you.